In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to do some basic assemblies. So let's get started. You can see that I have a bunch of parts. I've created them all in the same document, which is going to help save you a lot of time, a lot of energy if you plan ahead and save them in the same document or create them in the same document. So let's get started. On the bottom of my screen, I have my part studio. Here's where all my parts are. And then I should have a tab that says assembly. If you don't happen to have this tab, you can actually go over to the plus sign and select create assembly. But I'm actually going to go from Part Studio and I'm going to click on the my first assembly down here. As you can see, my screen becomes blank. So I will need to start adding my parts into my assembly. So I'm going to go up in the top left under the word insert. I'm going to select insert. And now my parts that I had in my Part Studio will show up. Well, you always want to pick your most important part. So my most important part is going to be my red base. That's what everything is going to be connected to. So I'm going to click on that once, and I'm going to slide my cursor over into my work area. I'll zoom out a little bit, and I'll left click just to place it. I'll do the same thing for the rest of my parts. So I'll click on my blue part. I'll come over here. It doesn't really matter where I'm going to put it. I'll left click, place it. I'll grab my green prism. I'll come over here, left click, place it. I'll grab my purple peg. I'll place that down there. And my yellow cylinder, I need two of them. So I'm going to click it once. Place it here, click it again, place it in. When I'm all done, I'm going to go up and hit my green check mark. Tells me that all my parts are in my assembly. Now, the first thing I want to do is you can see that I have my origin right here, right in the center of my screen. I want to lock my most major part to my origin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, and these are all my constraints up here at the top. And I'm going to actually choose the second one, which is called Fasten Mate. I'm going to select that. Now, this is where you have to start watching where you're grabbing. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to move my cursor onto this side. And you can see that I have my little symbol right here that gives me my little angles and everything. So I'm going to go up here and you're going to see here's my fastener mate constraint. So I'm going to click on that once. You can see that I have this first window. Now you're going to see multiple windows start to pop open. I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to put my cursor on the side. I'm not going to click. And you can kind of see that I have that little round symbol. That's going to tell me where I'm going to grab. So here you can see on the top, it's flat. Over here on the side. So what I want is I want to come over here on the side and I want to grab that little corner right there. So I've gone from the side and then I slid down to the corner. I'm going to click on that corner right there and now I'm going to come over to my origin. And I want to try to grab the same angle. Now, see how this one is flat and the other one is vertical? I don't really want that. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to exit out. I'm going to select that again. I'm going to rotate my cube over. And now I'm going to grab the bottom corner. I'm going to rotate back. And there we go. Now they're both flat. Click on it and it plops my red base block right over to my origin. When I like it, I'm going to hit my green check right there. I'm going to leave this box open for now. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place this green prism right on the end of this red base. So I'm going to leave this open. I'm going to use the same constraint. So I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to move my cursor onto the top, and then I'm going to slide over that corner. And you can see that my little target area is kind of horizontal. So I'm going to click on that corner right there, and I want to put it to that corner. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, hold my mouse button down, and rotate around. And I'm going to choose that corner right there. And you can see that it's going to plop it right in there. Real nice. So I like that. I'm going to hit this green check mark. Next, I'm going to do the same thing to this blue box. I'm going to put it right on top of this base, and I'm going to kind of sort of hook it next to the green one, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a twist. So this time, I'm going to rotate around. I'm going to move my cursor on top of this face right here, the green object, and I'm going to slide down to that corner because that's where I want my blue box to line up. So I'm going to grab that corner right there. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to spin around by right-clicking and holding my mouse button down. And that corner, I'm going to line up with this corner over here. So I'm going to touch this face, and I'm going to slide down and grab that edge and plop that right in. Now I want to add a little twist to this one. So now I'm going to go back to this original box. And there's this little box that I can check called offset. Now, if I zoom in really close, I might be able to see the colors. There's three little axes on that target, a red, a green, and a blue. Red is my X, my green is my Y, and my blue is my Z. And I really can't tell which is which right now. Realistic, I can barely see the blue one there. But what you can do is you can come up here, and I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it 0.5. And what I can do is I can come down here and hit solve. And you can see that it just took that box and it slid it out toward me. That's not what I want. So I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to change that to 0. I'm going to go down to this one. I'm going to type in 0.5 again. And then I'll hit solve. Well, you can see that it took my blue box and it pushed it down inside my red one. So that's not what I want. So I'm going to change that back to 0. I'm going to go to my Z, but this time I'm going to type in 0.25 because that's really what I want the offset to be. I'm going to hit solve. Ooh, that slid it into the green one. So I don't want it to go that direction. What I want it to do is I want it to go in a negative direction. Now, if I hit solve, I should have a little gap there, which I do. That's what I want. And so now I'm going to hit this green check mark right there. Next, I'm going to put this little purple peg inside this hole. Okay. I'm going to use a different kind of constraint, and it's called revolute. So I'm going to select this third one over called revolute. I'm going to come down on top of my purple block or my purple little peg, and I'm going to select the end in the center right there. I'm going to zoom back out. I'm going to pan over. Now this time I want to make sure that I'm looking down inside that hole. Okay. Now if I just do this, you can see that I'm on the top hole. I don't want the top hole. So I want this hole down here. You can kind of say this is the round bottom. That's the one I want. I do not want the top. I want the round bottom. So I'm going to come over here. That's the one I want. I'll click. Now, I have two solutions to this. If I zoom out, one where the peg is going down and the other one where it's going up. So to pick the other solution, I can just pick this little arrow, which is called flip. And I can flip that up. To make sure that I'm looking right, this little peg should be about even with the center of that hole right there. So that's looking good. I like that. I'll stick that right in there. Okay. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to move a couple of my yellow pegs. Okay. Now the purple peg, when I put it down there, I use revolute. So it stuck it right down inside on that face. I'm going to use something a little bit different. So we're going to slide over one more. I'm going to pick the one that's called slider. And what I'm going to do is I can just pick the end of this, and I can also choose the end of this one right here. And I can plop that in there, and I can hit that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this for a second. And what the slider does, it puts it inside, but now it allows my peg to slide in and out of that hole. It slides in and out of that hole. All right, things are looking pretty good so far. I got one more little piece right here to move, and I'm going to actually put this over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right on the end here. I'm going to make it tangent to this face. I'm going to make it tangent to the top. I'm going to make this front face of the yellow cylinder and the front face of the red thing line up. Okay. If I could do a right angle right now, you can see that they're not lined up. I need this to be over here, and I want it to be lined up perfectly like that. But for now, I'm going to just offset it a little bit. So you can see that it's going to move. Let me get back to my space. So the next one I'm going to do is the fifth one over. It's called planar mate. So all I'm going to do is select the side of the red right here and the side of that little piece. And it puts it right in there pretty good. I kind of like that. I could flip it and it would put it this way, but I want it to be this way. So I'm just going to hit the check mark. I'm going to exit out of this. This way I can take this and I can slide it out here and move it. The next one I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in two tangent constraints. Tangent is right over here. It's the 10th one in. So I'm going to click on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side right here and then the side of my cylinder. I'm going to make it tangent. Now, when I look at that, it's actually on the inside of my piece. And I don't want it on the inside. I want it the outside. So I'm going to flip it out. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave that like that. I'm going to hit the green check and stick it out there. But now I can still move this piece up and down. Okay. It's stuck. The two faces are planar and it's stuck on the side, but I want to make it tangent to the top here. So I'm going to go back up to my tangent constraint. I'm going to select the top right here and the face of my yellow cylinder. And it sticks it up on top like that, but I don't want it like that. I'm going to flip it down because I want it to be like this. I think that looks pretty good. Hit my green check mark. And now, as you can see, I got everything that's locked. Nothing should move except my slider right here. And that's some basic constraints using OnShape.